Okay, so as a team, we really need to understand this. Whenever we're building funnels, doing videos, whatever we're doing from a client point and automations, this is extremely important, right? Most businesses do not break down their audiences like this. I've started to try and explain this to clients because, well, let's go through it first of all. First of all, in green, we've got our value ladder. This is just a random business. It could be any business, okay? So we've got, at the bottom, we've got our free giveaways. The next step in the value ladder is maybe a virtual event. Then we're doing products that are maybe $50 to $500, then $500 to $2,000, and then anything up with that, we're now into high ticket. So we're now looking at masterminds, elite coaching programs, etc. Okay, so that is the value ladder, right, mapped out. So every single business should have a capstone product, and the capstone product is, what's the product that most people will be likely to buy at a decent amount of value? So this would be our capstone product, okay? So that essentially is something where we know majority of the people will be comfortable going up to, they'll be able to afford it, and it's a really good value product with a high margin for us, okay? So our goal is to get as many people as we can to this. But the problem is, what most clients say is, right, I'm gonna put on a virtual event. I want you to run everyone to the virtual event. Or I'm coming up with a new product. I want to run everyone to the new product. That doesn't work if we do it that way. What we need to do first of all is we need to understand what audiences should we be running to every step in the value ladder. Okay, so first of all, we map out up the top, we have prospecting. So all these audiences up here, anything that's driving to a funnel, first of all, is prospecting ads. Okay, so these are all prospecting. And then anything under here, they've landed, and then we're trying to do retargeting ads. Up here, we use the principle called dwell, okay? So D-W-E-L-L, exactly the same. Every single one of these is the same, okay? All the way across. So we have 5 core main audiences at the top, or 5 core segments we'd split them into. First one is data audiences. Second is website, engagement, layered, and look alike, okay? So what we're doing, first of all, is data. Any ideas what data audiences might be?
It's where you've purchased.
So someone might have opted in, you might, anything like that really. Existing clients, etc. So you'd have data audiences you would upload. You can use a data audience to then create a lookalike audience. So you're saying, right, these are all the people that have opted in. I want to run now, I want you to find 1%, run a lookalike audience of that data audience. Next one is websites. So people that have landed on the funnels in the past that haven't converted or have converted. Okay, so you'd have website engagers. Next one would be engagers on Facebook or Instagram. People who engage in your content, people who have watched percentages of your videos, people who have liked, comment, shared, etc. Okay, so then we've got engagement. Then we've got layered. Now this is where most businesses spend most of their efforts on. So they'll go and say, right, I want to find a layered audience. I'm going to find, I don't know, people interested in weight loss in this area with other interests like this, okay? That's your traditional audience that most people do. And then obviously we've got our lookalikes. When you can start to break it down, so for example, if I want to drive people to this capstone product, I wouldn't necessarily be saying, right, I'm gonna take all this audience that I'm driving to this one, and I'm gonna run them to that product. Why do you think I wouldn't run all these to that product? Any ideas? Yeah, too soon, they don't know you. Yeah, you've got to build a relationship with them. So one of the biggest things we need to educate our clients on is the fact of, right, you've got your capstone product, but you should only be running a certain audience to that capstone product, not everyone. That's what we've got to educate them on, because they're all going, well, let's just throw everyone at that. Let's run layered audiences to that. The problem is, like Debbie and Louisa just said, they don't have the rapport, they don't have the relationship with us, so it's harder to get them. Yes, you can do webinars, etc. to get them, but ideally what we want to be encouraging them to do is saying, right, down here, these are free, okay? We've got our free opt-ins, free giveaways. Well, what we should be doing is saying, right, we'll run layered audiences, we'll get all these new people in, people that haven't heard about us before. We'll test lots of different freebies to get their data first of all, start to give them some value, get them into our value ladder. Okay, then we'd be moving these guys onto maybe the virtual event or onto this next level product. Okay, then of course, anyone that's gone through these, they'd have, these now would be data audiences because they've gone through, they've opted in, they've bought this product, they may have bought this product. Now you're running data audiences from existing customers to that product. What George is having to do at the moment sometimes is if customers saying, I want to get more of these people, go and find me more on Facebook. But what we should be saying is actually, layered will work to a certain percentage, but ultimately it's about getting more people in down here. So once you've got your capstone product working, you don't really want to be messing around with the layered audiences up here. You want to be relying more on your data audiences, okay? You want to be relying on your website. You want to be relying on your engagers, etc. Your layered is not going to be as strong. Your data one is going to be far stronger. The other one that's going to be really key at this level, which we haven't really mentioned on here, is your Dream 100 list. Because that's important too, building affiliate relationships with other people that already have your audiences. But one of the big things we must stress to clients is, look, every single one of these step funnels, every funnel on this journey must have all this mapped out. Okay? So for example, someone comes to a free opt-in. We automatically add them to that data audience in the back-end automation. We also automatically add them to the Facebook audience in that automation. Okay? When they've bought that product, they come out the other side. We now drive them. So we say, okay, right, this person here opted in for the free product. Right, I'm going to take that now as a data audience. Run the data audience that opted in to the freeze to my virtual event. Run the data audience that opted into my freeze and my virtual to my next product. Run the data audiences that opted into these three to the next product. So what you're essentially doing is you're constantly feeding the machine. Once this capstone product's right and it's working correctly and it's converting well, it's all about, well, what do you guys think it's all about from there? Once that's converting well, to get more traffic, where should you be spending more effort on?
Your free product.
Your front end, really, this. It's all about getting more people.
But growing those, isn't it?
Yes. So you build your volume here to drive that. So one of the issues we've had with one client right now is the fact of what they need to do more of is more of this down here to allow us to have a bigger audience to go to that, because that's too big a jump in a price point for someone that's not used to them, they're totally cold. Yeah, webinars work, but ultimately we need to get more traffic down here first. So one of the things George has now mapped out is this makes George's life way easier on the ad side. So we've gone through one with every single client. We're starting to map out all the audiences. So let's take, for example, let's take the virtual one. We'll go with that one, right? So data audiences, what data would we have to run to the virtual?
So everybody who's registered for
opted in for something. Yeah? So data would be opt-ins. We've got all the opt-ins first of all. So you could then create a lookalike of your people that got your opt-ins. So 1% of people have opted in. You could create a lookalike off that. Okay. Website would be people, well, what would they be?
enter their email address.
No, so that's data. So website would be visited, but didn't opt in. Okay. So these would be visited the funnel and visited one of these funnels maybe, but that free opt-in didn't entice them. Maybe they're more interested in what we're going to have over here, come to a virtual event.
And is this what the pixel will track?
Pixel will track, but there's two things. Yeah, so there's two things. Data audiences, you rely on things like active campaign, website engagement, etc. Right, website in particular, you rely on the Facebook pixel. Okay, engagement obviously with things like Facebook and Instagram. Well, layered will be things like show me people in this area with this interest, etc. The problem is most people when they do this, they only rely on the layered. So what we need to be saying to the clients all the time, stressing to them, give us your existing patient list. We can upload that as a data audience and we'll then run a lookalike of your data audience. But we have to be encouraging clients that once this is right, so let's say we've got a client right now that isn't converting that well or there's not traffic going to it. It's not necessarily the fact of that funnel's not right. It's the fact of actually probably one of the biggest issues might be there's not enough relationship building down here or enough of these things to get people into that one. So in the back-end automations, it's really important that we're adding and removing people to custom audiences as they move through the value ladder. So that's why in the automations that we build, when someone opts in, add to Facebook custom audience, add to this list. When they've achieved the next goal, remove from that Facebook audience, move them on to the next one. So then when Georgia comes into this now, she's already got pre-created audiences set up in Facebook because Active Campaign and the Facebook Pixel has been feeding it all along. One of the things we need to look at on an audience point when you're looking at Dream 100 is, okay, well, let's start to map out one of the potential list of your Dream 100 people here would be people on Facebook. Okay, so Facebook pages and groups. So you'd have a big list of these that you can partner with. Next one, of course, will be other social media influencers. Okay, what other platforms do you have that you can reach out to your Dream 100 on? So the next one would be podcasts. Who has podcasts that complement what we do? Okay, so, or complement what that business does. List of those podcast companies. What companies offer similar services or products to complement what they do? Okay, so there's so many, the Dream 100, most businesses don't even touch on this. So take a childcare one, for example, again. A childcare one would be local play centers, dentists, doctors. Okay, all those feed into the services one. Okay, for an online business, you've got more things like your podcasts will have more. Well, who's offering other business advice that complements what you do, or financial advice? Instagram influencers, who's got big followings there that complement what you do if you're selling a product or a service. Okay, so we can't underestimate the power of that as well, that we're not touching on. But mainly, moving forward, first of all, with the clients, we need to be stressing to them, all of them, that they need to be feeding this front end if they're relying on driving more traffic to those. So you build a relationship with them first.